Yes. Okay, we are live. I'm so pumped up to talk to you about this topic. I have been just noodling through so many ideas about boundaries, especially when it comes to building an online business, because I have learned the hard way that without boundaries in your life and in your business, all kinds of things can go awry. And I really want to bring more of this type of content to you because I want to be the type of leader for this community who encourages you to, yes, like go out and crush it and build your business and, scale and do all the things that you want to do, but without losing your dang mind, okay? And without losing your health and your mental health and all the things. And especially right now, I think it's super important to talk about boundaries, expectations, stress, burnout, all the things that so many of us are feeling even within this community. So if you are watching live, please say hello. I can see that there's a few people on, but I can't see comments. So if you could say, hey, that would be awesome. If you're watching by replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay, hashtag missed ya. Would love to see who is catching this. And as you listen, please dialogue with me. I would love to hear what it is that's resonating with you, what's helpful, what you need more of, because this is something that's really been on my heart lately. Hello, yay, awesome. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Sabrina. Yay, awesome. I'm glad that I can see comments. I could see hearts, but I couldn't even see your little faces with the hearts. So I'm like, who's on with me? All right. Disclaimer, you guys. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself because we do have some new members. So I'm Ashley Samadani. This is our community of almost all female online entrepreneurs who are multi-passionate, who want to build a brand, but most of whom have a network marketing or direct selling or social networking business that they're building as a complementary asset. Okay. So if you're in this group, hopefully at this point we're of like mind. You are building yourself as a brand, okay? And then you have network marketing as a complementary asset. And one of the reasons why I teach and I preach and I practice that kind of thought process is because of burnout and because of my experience and belief that it is, if you are to get to like the top of the top of the top in a network marketing company and you don't have very solid boundaries around your time and around your energy, that can go totally askew, right? And so, and especially if you're trying to build your brand and do a bunch of other things, you've got to have boundaries. And I've learned the hard way in not setting and keeping boundaries the way that I know that I should. So I want to kind of take you on a journey as I'm figuring all of this out. Thank you, friend. I love green. Green is my favorite color. I love this shirt too. I feel like I've worn it a bunch. It's from Amazon. It's like super cheap. I should probably get more colors of it, but thank you for the compliment. Okay, so I want to know, for those of you watching, and I took a poll in our group just like a couple of days ago. I want to know, on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how burnt out do you feel when it comes, just in general, I guess, because you can't really separate, especially right now when so many things are just all tied into one, right? How burnt out do you feel? One would be not at all, like you're just living free, easy breezy, no stress, your cortisol levels are like, whoop, down, your blood pressure's down, you're just feeling good. I hope I do see some ones. And a 10 would be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to quit all the things. Like, I'm going to walk away from all the things like this. I can't take 1 second more. I'm having trouble getting out of, bed in the morning. I'm so tired. You're just burnt. So 1 to 10, I would love to see where everyone is at. There's literally no judgment because I think I was at a 10 like 2 weeks ago and I've been there before too. So that's why I'm really wanting to talk to you about this. Linz, I will send it to you. Social is hard right now. Yes. So right now, burnout, I would guess, and from what I've experienced, is probably at an all-time high for many people who are in general, but I'm talking to you all who are building online brands, who are building online businesses. And who are high achievers, right? So a high achiever, always striving, but maybe not even feeling like, even though you're striving, that you're ever quite, where you want to be, or you're ever good enough. Coupled with just a base level stress that every single person in the world on some level is likely feeling right now. Okay, so there's a base level stress just with what is going on with COVID and quarantine and the election and it's pandemic craziness. 2020 has just been absolutely nuts. So there is this level of basal stress for every single person. Couple that in with trying to make decisions about, your kids going to school or not going to school, and adding in homeschooling, being laid off from jobs, trying to build an online business, being a high achiever, all of these things, you guys, it's almost a recipe for burnout, which is why I think that implementing really solid boundaries around protecting our energy right now will only serve you, will only serve your family, will only serve your audience and your community that you also want to serve for the long term. So I think that now's the time to talk about boundaries, to talk about why they're so important, how to set them, and all the things. So I have a lot coming kind of down the pipeline. I'm working on sort of a longer drawn out blog post with a good resource, things that I'm, working through for you all who are experiencing burnout or who would like to prevent burnout when it comes to building your online business. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit of real talk with you, because you guys know I like to keep it real, and I encourage you to, as intentional influencers, be vulnerable, okay? No one's looking for you to be this perfect, consummate model of whatever it is that's your niche, but people want to see you vulnerably working through becoming the best, better, ever evolving version of yourself. And so obviously I want to practice what I preach and be that way with you all. So I wanted to share just kind of where I've been at over my quarantine journey. Some of you know this, some of you who are my clients and close friends may have heard me talk about this before, but I wanted to be honest about it because you probably saw, if you have been following along, I did take a week off of social media. And so I kind of wanted to explain, at least in parts, where that came from and maybe encourage you to do the same. I don't know. But anyway, back in, let's see, back at the very end of February, I officially launched, publicly launched my coaching and course creation business. So this was something that I had been doing, one-on-one coaching, mentoring, things like that. This group has been in existence for almost a year now, but I didn't kind of make the leap to launch until February, right before all the COVID, right? So launched a program, did a pre-launch, knew that I was going to be working very hard to put this all together. I have a 4-year-old, and so at the time, my work structure was going to be, she had preschool twice a week, and she was gone for 4-hour blocks of time, learning, being with her friends, and I used that as my work time. Finally, time blocks, yay! Knowing that I was kind of launching into this new prong of my brand and something that I was so excited about and still obviously am excited about. I had hired not a nanny, but a babysitter to come over and play and hang out with my daughter Taylor for 3 additional hours on a Wednesday, so I could have that time chunk to do what I needed to do. So I had it all in my mind, totally dialed in with time, right? I was like, I'm gonna hustle, but I've got these defined time limits and I've got my, boundaries. I'm not gonna be working all night every night. I'm gonna, devote more time to being a more present wife and mom. I really had it all dialed in February. So then flash forward to, March 12th. I think March 12th was the very first module of the Influence, Impact, and Income Academy, which is my signature program. It's a 12-week live coaching program where we build out the framework for searchable, Googleable influence, impact, and income. So we did module 1 on the 12th of March, and then if you remember, Friday the 13th, at least here in California, that was lockdown time, right? That was like the time when everything just went into lockdown, and all of a sudden it went from having, hours of work time at my discretion, and I felt totally in control of my schedule. I felt like I had put in place boundaries around my time. All of a sudden, all of that was thrown out the window, and it was back to zero time allotted during the day in order to build my business, in order to build my brand. So as you can imagine, I still had all of those same time commitments, right? The same time commitments to my clients, the same time commitments to my team, the same time commitments to, as a mom, all the things without all the time to do it. So what did I do? Being the high achiever and the dedicated professional that I am, I'm like, well, I'm still going to do all of it. So what I did was just stay up until, 2 or 3 in the morning, at least minimum 4 nights a week. Okay. And I'm almost 37. So one of those hits me really hard right now at this point in my life. But I did that for months. And so a lot of people have asked me, clients especially, like, how do you do all of it? Well, my answer is number one, I'm able to do all the things I'm able to do because of outsourcing, help, the systems, definitely the systems like email marketing, having Pinterest and a blog up and running, all those systems I teach in the academy. And then also, to be honest and very transparent with you, a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hustle without boundaries. If we're talking about the last few months, until I kind of hit a wall, which is why I want to talk to you about what I would have done differently and some boundaries and ideas for you all. So anyway, that's how I get it all done, is basically sacrificing sleep and sacrificing time and all of that. And sometimes hustle can get a bad rap because hustle is necessary, right? Hustle, and I jotted down a couple of the definitions from you all in this community. Some of the definitions of hustle that you all gave is keep moving, keep working, even when it's hard and it's not fun. Don't stop. Work hard and push through. You can get where you want to go. Work hard. Don't let up. Go for it. Work for those things you want. Work hard. Keep on moving forward. Having that mindset and just staying focused. So those things are not bad in and of themselves. Those aren't negative. It's necessary to have hustle if you want to get anywhere, but hustle without any boundaries around your emotional energy, hustle without an end in sight, just hustling until the cows come home, is a recipe for burnout. And so for all of you in here who are high achievers, who don't want to give up on their goals and dreams, who have a hard time, saying no to the things that you want to do, the things that other people want you to do, this is literally this can become a huge, just life-altering life suck, right? So hustle can take that turn into negative town when there's no boundaries to protect your energetic needs. Okay, are you feeling me on this? Have you guys ever felt in this place where you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to do all the things. There's no capacity for this, yet you continue to do it. And I think especially as women, we continue to give and give and give and say yes. And we feel uncomfortable putting up these boundaries personally, professionally, in all the ways. But the skill set of setting boundaries is something that I'm realizing that is an area that I need to improve in my own life, and I'm seeing how it's how it impacts not only life but also in business. And I want you guys to build your brand and build your network marketing business, build your coaching business, whatever endeavor that you're doing online. I want you to build it with strong boundaries in place so that you can enjoy what it is that you're building, and you don't get to the top or get to this arbitrary income goal and you hate your life. This is not sustainable. This is not what I would wish upon anyone else or yourself, right? I really don't want that, and I don't want to be that type of leader for my team, encouraging this never-ending boundaryless hustle. And I don't want to encourage my clients to do that either. I want to encourage smart, aligned hustle with boundaries in place to protect your energetic needs. And so part of what you're going to hear from me as far as messaging moving forward will be a lot of this, right? Because as I've told you guys from the beginning in this group, I'm not going to be able to, with good conscience, teach things that either I know won't work or teach you things that would benefit me that will not benefit you, or any of the above. And so I think that teaching, setting boundaries within business, or at least sharing with you my journey, and maybe you can learn just by my mistakes, I hope that will be helpful. So let's go into, let me tell you why it's important. And let me scroll up. So lady says, yes, I love this, totally feeling this. I need to be better at setting boundaries. Yes. And thank you, Destiny. So you guys, first of all, I think, and let me look at my notes because I've got so much to say. I've been working on a blog post, and so I'm kind of using this live as a way to process through my thoughts with you guys and see what resonates and see what you want more of, what would be helpful. So I love the comments. I love your feedback. And thank you for letting me kind of think out loud here in our community. Another time, okay, so this is off the topic, but while I'm thinking of it, there are seasons and spurts when you need to hustle. So it's like, I am going to hustle towards this goal, and here is my plan, and here's how I plan to execute it, and I'm gonna go, right? So that is smart. Like, I cannot stand like the chillpreneur, like just like, manifest your way to success. No, trust me, to achieve any level of success that I have, a lot of it has been hustle, and some of it has had boundaries and some of it hasn't. And I've made mistakes along the way, but you have to hustle. But without having yourself in alignment with the vision of where you're going, without having a game plan of where you're going and having it feel like this is like long term where you want to go, working on things that you're not passionate about and it's not exciting to you, that's going to feel out of balance, and that's going to lead to burnout. Like, there's just no way that it's not. I'll give you an example. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. My first kind of like taste and foray into network marketing was with a different company than the one that I'm partnered with now. It was more of a traditional MLM, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't ask like all the questions that I did and now would when considering an opportunity like that, to see if it aligned with how I was building my brand and building my business, and was it going to take over my life, which is what happened with this one. And caveat, especially if you're hustling and you're not seeing a result, it's really easy to burn out. If you're hustling and you're seeing a result, it's like, ooh, this is kind of motivating. But even that, you're going to get to a point where there's no amount of like money or rank advancements or clients, like none of that will matter if you're like losing your soul and you have no life, right? And your whole life is devoted to staring at your phone. And for me, with that first company, I found myself, doing, and this sounds, it's like, tough problems or whatever, but at the time it was a direct sales company. Like, I bought and purchased stock and then sold said stock, and I was utilizing my brand group, not this one obviously, but a different brand group. At the time, obviously I had a different brand. Still me as the brand, but I was promoting these products and whatever. So I found myself spending an extraordinary amount of time, because I was experiencing success and I was selling probably $4,000 to $5,000 worth of skincare and cosmetics, that I had to purchase, invoice, package, and ship. And I looked at that, and I remember it was about this time, a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I was looking at what I was doing in my business and just the overall picture and where I was spending my time, and knowing what I wanted to do, which is this is what I wanted to do. It was like, this just feels, I'm like, I'm spending hours per week of time I really don't have, because my daughter wasn't even in preschool at the time. So it's actually kind of like how my lifestyle is now. hours of time doing something that I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. This feels out of balance. This is not just one of those like have to get through it things. It's like, well, this is never going to end with that company in the way that the model was, and I didn't want to do it. And so being able to set that boundary and say, I actually don't want to do this, and so I don't have to do this, but that's going to require me to make some changes, right? And so for me, obviously, that was not the only reason why I changed lanes and all of that, but that's an example of looking at what you're doing. If you're feeling out of balance and you're doing all these things and you're hustling, but it's stuff that you don't even like doing, you're going to burn out. Now, since I've changed lanes, I've also experienced, even though I do like what I do now as far as like the network marketing side of things, I like what we do, but I still have found myself being out of balance with some of the activities. And again, if you're going for a goal, that is one thing, but I still don't think it's wise to go for a goal to the neglect of your entire emotional needs, because we only have, you guys, our energy in life, in everything, in building an online business, in attraction marketing, in serving your team and serving your community and doing all these things we want to do. It comes down to, what do you have to give? What energy do you have? And are you protecting that very finite resource? And where are you expending that energy? Are you expending a lot of energy doing things that really they're not really moving the needle. They're not really where your passions and your visions are aligned. That's going to drain you. That's going to drain you, but it's so hard for those of us who are high achievers, who don't want to give up, who literally will not give up on things to the detriment of our physical, emotional, and mental health. Is there anyone else, or am I alone? Because that is literally how I am in some areas. In a lot of areas, it's not healthy, and I really don't want, I want to lead my community and the people that I serve, you all, I want to lead you not down that path. And I honestly don't, a lot of my team is in here. I don't care if it impacts, our volume. I'm not concerned with that. I'm more concerned with the lives and spirit and energy and all of the things that really matter of the people who entrust me to join me in any endeavor. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, mean that, and I will build a business on that. So if you're on my team and you're like, oh my gosh, but what if I need to take a break? I don't care. Please take one. Do what you need to do, because I love you guys. And if you are one of my clients or you're a member of this community, I encourage you, listen to, know what you need. So one thing I'm learning about myself, you have to know what your capacity for stress is and how much you need to pour back into yourself in order to feel in balance. I'm very sensitive. So I think sometimes we forget, we're like, oh, I've always had this. I have a high capacity for work volume. I'm like, bring it on. I'll keep doing it all day long. But at the same time, I also have a very low threshold for how I feel dysregulated in my body stress-wise. So you have to know yourself, and you have to know you can't do all the things at once, and you have to determine what's enough. What is enough, and where do you need to draw the boundaries to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that for this week. Where do you need to draw those boundaries, right? So anyway, I don't want to see any of you give up on your goals, your dreams, your visions, because you've allowed yourself to get into burnout. And so here's something, I don't want this to sound negative at all, and it comes from a place of, I've been there before where I'm like, oh, poor me, I'm so stressed out, I have so many things on my plate like this, how am I going to get all the things done? And I'm stressing out, I'm walking around the house oh, I need more time. Well, why do I need that? Because I didn't set boundaries, right? I'm not a victim to the life that I've created for myself by not having any boundaries. So I want you to keep in mind that old saying, I don't know who said it, but what you allow will continue. So if you have allowed all the things to be on your plate, you've allowed that, right? It's up to you to get things off your plate or to realign your plate and to make separations between the food, because I don't like when my food crosses. Is anyone else like that? Like Thanksgiving meal, like when all the stuff is together, I can't handle it. So you might need to get things off your plate, separate the food on your plate, take some things off, feed some of it, to your dog, like outsource, however you want to look at this metaphor. But you may need to do a little bit of realigning to get to a place where you can hustle from a focused place where you have boundaries set so that you are not going to burn out. Okay. And plan for, if you're like, I have team members all the time who are like, this month I'm going for this goal, and then they hustle so much and then they feel burnt out. But sometimes I wonder sometimes it's almost like an expectation of like, oh, I need to keep doing that for infinity. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm not putting that pressure on anyone. I don't want anyone here to put that pressure on yourselves. And if you have an upline or leadership who does that, then that's their problem. That's not your problem. I have great leaders. Nicole's in here. Nicole never puts pressure on me or anyone to like do more. Like, she's wonderful. And so if you have that pressure on you from an upline, like, know that that's them, that's not their place, and that you don't have to put that pressure on yourself. You don't have to hustle endlessly. And I feel like in network marketing, again, sorry if I offend anyone, but I feel that in network marketing, it's part of the culture. It's like this celebrated thing of like endless hustle, like hustle to infinity and beyond. And like literally, if you're doing that, you're like, crushing it. But like I said in my description above, don't let crushing it crush you. There's no amount of like acclaim or rank advancements or money where you being crushed is worth crushing it. There's not. And there's other ways to build a business and figure out, do you need to slow down to speed up? Do you need to learn how to, set up email marketing where you can actually correspond 1 to hundreds versus 1 to 1? Okay, that's hours per week. For some of you, hours per day saved. Do you need to, what do you need to automate? Do you need to outsource? Do you need to work with a virtual assistant? Do you need to kind of slow down to speed up? I see a lot of people, they come in, they're like, they go hard and fast, and they experience some success, and then they're like, I can't sustain this, so I'm going to quit. That is a tragedy to me, and I'm seeing it, and I've seen it in my own team members. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is, I hope it's not an expectation for me, because I don't have that expectation. I have had it on myself, but I've now realized that that's not healthy. It's not healthy. So why is burnout a problem? Then I'm going to give you just like 1 or 2 tips, and then I will have a ton of tips on setting boundaries to protect your time and to protect your energy, which are your 2 most precious resources that you can never get back, and which, if used in alignment with vision and purpose, can be the most powerful things in this world. I want you to protect that with your life, okay? So why is burnout a problem and a setback in general and for online entrepreneurs? Well, like I said, energy is everything. If you are coming, and you guys may have seen, I had a close friend of mine message me. She's like, your videos are like off, girl. Like, what is going on? Like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm not okay. I'm so stressed out. I haven't slept. I'm drinking like 50 cups of coffee a day to like, why am I doing that? I am allowing that. I am choosing that, right? So if you aren't in a place where you are operating at your best, you're feeling rejuvenated, you're feeling, as good. Obviously right now, it's like stressful city, right? But if you are not doing everything you can to protect your energy and to revive your spirit, to be inspired, you can't serve other people at your best. You can't serve your team your best. You can't serve your clients your best. You're not going to be creating content that's coming from a super deeply aligned, inspired place. That's going to show up. You're not going to attract the right people, because what you put out, you do get back. And people can sense that like energy, that lack of energy, or not even lack of energy, just off energy, right? And most importantly, what do you have left for your actual family and friends? Like the people who God, gave to you as the people to nurture. What do you have left for them? Like, not much, right? And so this, especially right now, is really, really important. You can't serve others at your best if you're not operating at your best, okay? So the goal, my goal, the goal that I have for you, and I put this in a story yesterday, is aligned hustle fueled by vision and clear goals while being respectful of your energetic needs. So that's my goal. I want that to be your goal too, because when you get to where you want to go, whenever that is and wherever that is, you'll have yourself intact, and you will have strong boundaries, and you'll have passed that down to other people that you're working with, whether that's teammates or clients or even your kids, right? And this is where I really want to get. I want to be strong in this. I want to be an example in this, and I'm not right now. I'm not. I have not been, especially in this season. So I had to take a step back, and I took a week off of social media, realigned, reassessed, spent some good quiet time, spent some time alone, and kind of have come back with different boundaries around time on social media, around the way that I communicate, around the way that I want to spend my time, regardless of how anyone else expects me to or wants me to spend my time. Okay? And I want that same thing for you too. I want you to feel so solid in your boundaries in all areas of life, but I'm not a life coach. I'm talking about business stuff. So, Merriam-Webster definition of a boundary. Okay, so in case you're wondering, in case you're like, well, what's a boundary? Probably or not, but just for the sake of, I was a teacher for 9 years and you just can't take it out. So the definition of a boundary is something that indicates or fixes a limit or extent. So a boundary is something that fixes or indicates or fixes a limit or an extent. So a limit to how much time you'll do, the extent to which you'll do what it is you do, and kind of putting boundaries around this. So I am going to give you just like a couple of, they may be obvious to some of you, like boundary warriors that are like, I'm like boundaries all day, every day, like ain't nobody getting past my boundaries. Like I'm like, doing, this might not be for you, but if you've listened through all of my mumblings and ramblings, hopefully you're vibing with something and these will be helpful. So number one, again, I'm going to give you just two. I have literally like a huge long list, but one, saying no to doing all the things. Okay. So I think especially for women and men who are in network marketing, we're building online. Okay. We're building online, and our phone, we have this thing that we could be constantly accessible on, constantly, right? Like there's never an end, right? There's never an end. There's so many people wanting us to do so many things, to run this group, to do this giveaway, and this, help out with this and this three-way chat, and like all these different things. You can't say yes to all the things. Okay. So first boundary, say no to things, and that's okay, and feel comfortable with that. You're not being rude by saying no when that's not something that is on your to-do, let's say on your to-do list. Now, of course, you're going to say yes sometimes, but you need to have your plan for the activities, the non-negotiable activities that you're actually going to do for that day that are going to move the needle for you in the way that you want to build and what it is that you're building, and say no to doing extra things. So for me, for the longest time, I was like, I want to get, this funnel up and running. I want to write, this series of blog posts. I want to get this free, video email course series out. I wanted to do all of these things, but in the extra time, in the very limited extra time, which I had reserved for those things, I would say yes to things that weren't in that plan and then have no time. And then I would feel resentful or upset or annoyed or all these negative things that I brought on myself because I didn't have boundaries, right? So no victim mentality. You need to be able to say no to doing all the things, and you're not going to hurt anyone. Like, most people, I guarantee you, most people that you work with, if they are worth working with, are not going to look at you and be like, oh, what a, for saying no, how dare they? But it's up to us to set those boundaries, to know what it is, what's our next logical step that we need to be taking to advance our brand, to advance our business. And then if there's extra time, beyond that extra time that you're working, on those larger projects and things to advance you forward, then you can say yes. But if you don't have time, say no. Just say no. Just don't do it, okay? And again, I have team members here. If I ask you to do something and it's not you don't have time to do it, don't say yes. Don't do it. I don't want you to do that. That's not healthy, okay? That's not a healthy boundary. You need to have a healthy boundary to prevent burnout, because what no leader wants is for their team to burn out and leave. No, I would be so sad. And you guys, if you have teams, you feel the same way. So don't disseminate that hustle till you die mentality. Okay, that's not good. Okay, so say no to doing all the things. Try and keep your blinders on to shiny object syndrome when you're like, oh, this event, ooh, this live, ooh, this webinar, ooh, this, training, ooh, someone gave me this, all the things. Try to prevent shiny object syndrome. Okay, so that's number one. I'm going to give you one more. Let me see, which one of these do I want to give you? Oh, okay. This is very specific to like phone notifications. So this is a boundary that I have the hardest time with, and I had the same boundary issue in my previous career. I ended up I was in education for a little over 13 years. The last 4 years, I was a program coordinator for a school district for their special education programs. And so I had tons of emails every day. Like, I don't even want to tell you how many emails per day. And I just had this compulsion and lack of boundary where I had to reply quickly. Like, as soon as I got that, I checked email like 40 times a day, maybe not 40, but all the time. And I found myself, if I'm not really intentional now with building an online business and working with clients and working with team members and, building relationships with people on social media, I find myself doing the same thing. I compulsively have checked my phone and respond. So number one, boundary around phone notifications, because like I said, if you're building an online business, you could work all day long. You could be answering messages all day long, right? So the new boundary I have for myself is, and again, baby steps. For some of you might be like, oh, that's still a lot. I'm only going to check my phone and reply to messages 3 times a day. Okay? And I'm not responding to any messages after, I think it's like 7 or 8, right? But I'm not going to be answering messages like definitely not past 8 p.m. Okay? So checking 3 times a day, responding back. So you have to set your own limits and know the amount of messages that you get, right? So if you don't need to check them 3 times a day, then that's not an issue. But you have to be intentional with that, right? So again, that word intentional, I feel like it's coming out in different ways, right? So be intentional with how often you're allowing that input into your energy field, right? If you constantly look into your phone and constantly answer, like a real reality check is look at your phone and see how much time you spend on your phone per day. And if you're not like a millionaire and you're on your phone like 11 hours a day, something is out of alignment. And that's what happened to me probably 2 weeks ago. I had a day and my phone notification came in. I had been on my phone like 10 plus hours, like on average that week. Like, what? This is nutty. And I knew, I was like, that's not all productive time. Like that is not being intentional. There's no way that's intentional time spent. So set the amount of times you're going to check your phone notifications and how often you're going to respond. Remember, you the way that people treat you and the way that people feel that they have access to you, whether that's your customers, team, people, whoever it is, you not train people, but you teach people how to treat you or what the expectations are by the way that you engage with them, right? So if you are constantly like in your team, and my team knows I have historically been like really in the team chat like all the time, but that's not necessarily the healthiest thing, and that's not the best thing to model. A lot of times, and I'm this way too, if I ask a question, sometimes I'm asking it because I'm not wanting to spend the time, or I don't necessarily have the time right then to look myself, and so I want a quicker answer. A lot of times, if you let it ride, someone will come to the answer on their own without you like having to spoon feed it. And that's what you want to create, that leadership capacity. You want to encourage that independence. And yes, like if you have customers, you do want to provide good customer service, but within 24 hours is fine. It doesn't need to be within 24 seconds, right? Or 24 minutes even, right? So set the amount of times that you're going to check your phone, turn off those notifications so that you're not getting pinged on your phone. If you need to put your phone out of the room so that you're not checking it, do it. But set boundaries around that so that, we're not spending more time like looking into our phones than we are looking at our kids in the face or doing, that just breaks my heart to even think about it. But yeah, literally, I mean, think about that. That's where I'm like, I don't want to get emotional, but when I saw that time, I'm like, so I was definitely I was either looking at my phone or it was on for that amount of time. What else could I have been doing with that time? And my 4-year-old's here. It just, as a mom, I'm like, this is not acceptable. And I don't want to be a leader of any community where the priority is not setting boundaries around those things so that we aren't addicted to our phones. We aren't addicted to scrolling and, getting into these. It's got to stop. We've got to be intentional with the way that we are spending our time, with protecting our energy, with setting those boundaries. So more to come on all of this. I will probably have that post ready on Friday. I am getting back into my routine. I'm setting the boundaries that I need to, and I'm building my brand and my business the way that I want to, and that feels in alignment for me. So I will be getting back to hopefully weekly or bi-weekly blog posts that are super valuable, that will have a free resource for you. So if you're not on my email list for my blog, definitely make sure that you are ashleysalmadani.com. You can subscribe there. There may also be, I don't know, there might be a link somewhere in here, but most of you, if you're in this group, you're on my email list already. If you're interested in, I should have mentioned this before, but if you're watching till the end and you're not in the membership community, the Intentional Influencer Society, that is where I teach strategies to help you to automate parts of your business so that you can get your time back, okay? So like I said, how am I able to do all the things? Systems, okay? A lot of it is systems. I could not manually one-to-one, liking and commenting on people's stuff all day long. I could not build what I have now without systems. And that's what I teach within the membership. And then obviously, if you're looking at more of that like larger building out your framework, the Influence, Impact, and Income Academy, which will be launching again September the 14th. So I'm going to be focusing on building those two things and really serving my clients well there and serving my team well with boundaries around all of it. I'm really excited, and I want to take you guys on that journey and help you to do the same if that's an area that you too could improve in. So if you are interested in the membership and you want to build out email marketing this month and next, that's what we're doing. So that little mini course will be in the membership, but if you want live access and you want to participate in it's probably in just a few minutes, bi-weekly we have Q&A coaching sessions with me. So if you'd like a chance to kind of ask questions about things, go through that email marketing program live. We are doing that this month and next. So that's ashleysalmadani.com/membership, and you can get enrolled. It's $67 a month. You can cancel anytime. Of course, I hope that you would stay. But those are the things that are on the table. Those are the ways that you can work with me. I'm not taking on any one-on-one clients. That's another boundary I'm putting up. I'm not going to take on any new one-on-one clients aside from those I'm already serving as a boundary, right? Even though I wish I could like work with everyone. I would love to do that, but time and energy are our most precious, limited resources. I hope this was helpful. Stay tuned for that blog post, which will give you lots more ideas about how you can put boundaries around your time, protect your energy, and work and create from a place of rest, alignment, and all of the good things. So anyways, you guys, I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.